Hi guys, I can't believe it's been another week since we did the last week that was, but here it is. It's Sunday, the 22nd of September, and we're ready to give another update. So just going to start, we've had some adoptions this week again, not as many as last week, but we do have a lot of adoptions pending. But this week we saw Ollie, our white American Staffy, go to his new home. We saw Atlas, our little beagle girl, she finally went home, and little Minnie, our little Jack Russell. So 3 adoptions, but we do have actually a lot of adoption pending. So you'll see their photos next week because a lot of them have vet appointments. So this week is going to be back and forth to the vets all week, and you'll start to see those adoption photos go through. So yay, that's great. It's always great when you've got adoptions, you've got animals going home, and that's what we're here for, to try and get them into homes. One of the things that we put up during the week was a story about Bear. Now, we touched on Bear last week in the week that was, and I actually put Bear's story up this week. We got a lot of people commenting about it, and it was really nice to see people sort of, wow, you just didn't take the easy way out with that dog. You actually saw past all those injuries and the things that quite often are enough to tick the box to put him down. So Bear has gone up to our partner rescue and he's doing extremely well. And so we've got a little update video for you.
Yep. Say ta. Ta.
Can I pick it for you? Ready? Ready, bet. 3, 2, go! Okay, drop it, drop it, drop it. Here we go. Ready, steady, look at it!
Oh, he just fell out of the fence.
Drop it! There, drop. There, drop. Good boy. Good boy. That's not a toy. Look at you, baby.
Boy, go boy.
One of the things obviously that we do here is obviously impounding, and I've told you before that every animal that comes in, if it's our job to get them home. Quite often we catch a lot of people dumping their animals, and this week has been relentless with it. Not only from our area, we've caught a lot of people actually dumping from other areas, and we've caught them out. But one case in particular I'd like to bring to your attention is little Archie. He's a little dachshund cross, supposed to be a Pomeranian cross dachshund, but I kind of think he's more like a foxy cross dachshund. So on the Friday, I had a lady contact me and she said, look, I found this puppy at Rutherford. And I said, oh, okay. She said, look, can you come and get him? And I said, look, we don't come out. You'll have to contact a ranger. Have you put him up? Yep, I've put him up everywhere. And I said, look, I can't find where you've put it up. Send me the picture and I'll put him up. And that's what I did. I put him up onto the Lost and Found sites, put him on our page and everything like that. As it was getting later on in the day, we'd had nobody call about it. And I did have my suspicions that the person was being very less than honest about it. And so I sent her a message and I said, look, we haven't had anybody. You need to bring him in. That's fine. You'll need to do a statutory declaration and you'll need to show your ID. Now, I think it might have only been maybe a few minutes later, she said, oh, my brother has found the owner. And I said, how did your brother find the owner? I didn't put your address up, I didn't put your contact details. She said, no, they were going past and they said, hey, that's our dog. And then they called a name and the dog responded. And I said, oh, okay, well, what's the dog's name? She said, Archie. I said, well, I'm going to need to know who they are, because if the dog's not microchipped, because she apparently had taken it to a vet for scanning, I said, we need to get that dog microchipped. And she said, oh, we didn't get any details. So that was a bit of an alarm bell for me as well. But okay, I'm going to have to look into that one. Lo and behold, on Saturday, the Cessnock Ranger came in and she said, I've got a stray for you, Dee. I said, oh, okay. I said, do you suspect the finder? She said, well, I've picked this one up from a vet. And I said, but she said, look, it's in good condition. Somebody loves this dog. Somebody will definitely come for it. So I get my leash and I go up, and she said, oh, I don't know what breed it is.
Sorry, hold on a second. There we go.
She said, I don't know what breed it is. And I said, okay, well, let's have a look at it. She winds back the thing to let me have a look at the dog, and I said, that's called a dump. A dumping. And she said, no. She said, no, somebody clearly loves this dog. I said, no, that one's a dumping. And I pulled my phone out and I said, look, it's a perfect match. Your dog is the one from yesterday from Rutherford. And she went, oh, okay. I said, well, I have to spring into action. So the first thing I did is start my investigation. Let's just say by the end of it, I've got numerous stat decks with confessions admitting that it's their dog. Now, the reason why they did this, the little dog is 21 weeks old. It's a puppy, and it's nipping at the baby, or barking, and went to nip it. Didn't connect with the baby, but went to nip. It was on one of those automatic rockers, and they went, oh, dog's got to go. So very unlucky that they chose this facility with Maitland, but what they didn't know is that I also look after Cessnock and Dungog. So I look after 3 councils impounding here. So when they had no luck with the first council, they moved on to the second one. Just really bad luck that I'm the pound manager there as well. So Archie got surrendered yesterday. I thought, they're just going to keep trying. I got them to surrender him properly. We got to the bottom of it. Imagine if we did not know the history of why they did what they did. What if I had given them to a family with a baby? The dog doesn't like babies, But the sister said to me, oh, he's fine with my kids. The finder said, oh, he's been fine with my daughter. But at the end of the day, that's vital information. What we did learn is that he definitely doesn't like the automatic rockers. He's not comfortable around babies. He's also car sick. So we learned that he vomited into lots of cars. That's probably called karma. But anyway, happy to say he's one of the adoption pending. So, and he's going off to live with somebody that has adopted from us in the past when we used to be at Erina. So we did a successful meet and greet with their little one, and we'll get him in for desexing this week and off to his new beginning. This week we had a call out from one of the rescue groups on the Central Coast. Now the Central Coast is about maybe an hour and 15, hour and a half away from me. It was about 7:30 at night, and I got the call to say that one of the rescue groups had one of their foster carer dogs had escaped from the carer and had been on the run for about 12 days, and they had been battling to try and catch it. The dog is actually still on the run, but at one point we actually had a confirmed sighting. We've actually got a photo of that, which I'll put up as well, and it was in the bush eating. So they sort of said to us, look, by any chance do you have a trap? And I said, yeah, we do have a Missy trap that we actually fundraise for. And they said, look, can we borrow your trap? And I said, yep, that's not an issue at all. So Don and I loaded it up into the van and we drove down to the Central Coast and we set the trap up, and by morning we had caught a kookaburra in our trap. No dog, but a kookaburra. So that trap is down on the Central Coast at the moment in the hopes that we can catch that dog. Now, there are people out there that also do trapping, which is millies, and then there's also tailor-made trapping, but unfortunately their traps were elsewhere, and so we want to help catch this dog. And I mean, that's what we did the fundraiser for. We want to get these animals that are on the run. So Don and I got down there, set the trap up, caught a kookaburra. We're doing really great. Obviously we're not as experienced as the other guys, but we're getting there, and the trap is actually in motion at the moment. So they've had another confirmed sighting. She has moved down the road, so hopefully in the coming days they'll be able to catch her. So hopefully we'll get that some good news soon. So on Friday we did a fundraiser for Mr. G. He's obviously one of our cats here that needs to have all his teeth out. Unfortunately the fundraiser didn't go as well as what we'd hoped. And we always find that happens with cats, don't we, Tommy?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really hard. It's a little bit heartbreaking actually, because it's an animal in need. Whether or not it's a cat or a dog or a bird or anything, we want to help, you know. So we've always found that it's always happened that way if it's a cat. We do have to raise about $2,000. We have had some amazing people donate. So one lady donated $20. There was another lady that donated, I think, $250. One of our volunteers here, Sue, she's amazing. She comes in all the time and spends time with the cats. And what Sue does is she's been collecting bottles and cans and cashing them in. And instead of pocketing that money, Sue brought in $270 to us today towards Mr. G's operation.
She did also say that if she gets a coffee, she'll get a small one, but put the remainder of a large costing remainder of it into savings as well.
I think she said it was a difference of about $3.
Yeah.
So she's downsized her coffee and put that $3 into it to help Mr. G. It was also Sue's birthday recently, and instead of her family buying her a present, Sue asked if they could donate towards Mr. G's operation, and so her family donated $250. So in total, we're not quite halfway, but we're a good chunk of nearly halfway. So between her $270, the family's $250, the other $250 donated by a lady plus another $20, we're at $750, $800, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but we've still got a little bit of way to go. But yeah, I think it's always a little bit sad that we can usually put a plight up for a dog and pretty much mainly meet our target, but the cats are a little bit of a struggle. But we will get there. That boy will get his operation this Thursday. Oh, it might be
Tuesday.
This Tuesday, because he's in so much pain. He's starting to not eat again. We've had him at the vets. They've given him a long-acting antibiotic to try and get the pus under control, and he's been on pain relief. But we've just noticed in the last couple of days he's gone off his food again. He's starting to dribble. So sooner rather than later, that boy needs his operation. So while I'm talking about cats, I've talked to you before about Polly, how she came in really sick and everything, and we nearly lost her. One of the things that I've been doing recently is I spend a great deal of time with Polly. She's an older cat. She's had a hard life on the street, and one of the things that really broke me was taking her to the vet when she was really sick, and I said, look, could you just look at her mouth? Something's not right with her jaw. And the vet said to me, that's because she's been kicked in the face, Dee. She's got a lot of broken teeth, and she's, you know, it's affected her mouth. You know, you can see damage to her mouth. And And one of the things I've always done is, you know, I really feel the empathy towards animals that have had a hard life, whether or not they're a feral cat or a vicious dog or anything. I look at the animal and think, what have you gone through for you to put that barrier up? And so that's one of the things I like to really focus in on as well. And so when the cats were in the Sally Port, I actually started to see that Polly used to resonate towards Grumbles. Now Grumbles has never been a cat that likes other cats. He's, you know, he'll smack them, he'll growl at them, he'll, you know, he gives that vibe like, don't even come near me, I'm going to put you down. And he does, you know, like you're always yelling, Grumbles! But the one thing that I always noticed was that Polly leaned towards him. Now Grumbles is in renal failure. We know we're going to lose him. He was only given he was given 6 to 12 months. He's gone over that time, but we have noticed that he's starting to lose weight. He's going down, he's going to the vets. His last blood of bloods did show that he was doing okay blood-wise, but we can see a change in him. So what I've started doing is I've actually taken Polly out of the cattery and I've brought her into the Sally Port because I wanted to see whether or not we could make Grumbles a friend, and that's going extremely well. They're actually getting along very well, and I have my cuddles with Polly at night when I hang back, and she's hanging with Grumbles during the day. So here's a little snippet of them together. You would have thought I busted them doing something wrong with the look that they both looked at me as like, what the? But here they are. Obviously now we're coming into the summer season, and we're obviously going to starting to get some hot days. You know it's getting warm and it's starting to have some really nice warm days when you see the pound rooster upside down having a bird bath, having a dirt bath. So Russell's been getting out there and enjoying himself, so made me smile. And so I thought I'd just give you a little snippet of what he is like when he's enjoying a good old bath. But obviously with summer that's approaching, it does come with other things as well. And recently we just saw a post by one of the local vets to say that parvo is surfacing again. So we really hope that everything that we put out there in the past has actually been taken on board with owners, and that they're actually got their animals vaccinated, because we're not even really into the hot weather yet, and already a vet in Newcastle has already put an alert out that they've had parvo in the area. I'm going to cross and tap as much wood as I can get. I even know my own head if I need to be.
I love it too.
And Tony's doing it with me, that we have not seen any. And we're really hoping that it's just a gentle reminder that if you have not got your animals vaccinated yet for parvo, please do so. It's going to be a hot summer, I feel, and that actually drives parvo. So just a word of warning, get out there and check those vaccination status. They need to be done every year. Now people often will talk about a teeter test and say, look, you might not need to vaccinate, you need to do a teeter test. Quite often a teeter test is actually more expensive than the actual vaccination yourself, because you've had a consult and then you've got to do your testing, which is laboratory testing. So quite often it may even yield that you may need to do a vaccination as well. So it could be actually quite double or triple the costing for a teeter test. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure those animals are vaccinated. And certainly if you are walking your dogs, be mindful where you're walking to. Parvo lives in the ground. So just heads up guys, it's going to be a hot summer. Protect your little ones. Just remember to, walking on hot concrete and tar, it burns your feet. You wouldn't do it without shoes. Just bear in mind that, yeah, to be mindful that your dogs also burn. Okay. Sitting outside with Russ, having a bit of sun. Russ is having a bath. Aren't you handsome? Yeah. Look how gorgeous that boy is. He always puts it all over the footpath. Then we've got to go and fix it up and put some more dirt in for him. But he loves it. What you doing, handsome? Russell is part of our crew. This is his enclosure. He's such a character, we love him. Last week saw a lot of dogs come into the facility in various ways. Not only through impound, we actually had 11 dogs on the one day come in. They were puppies, and 8 of them came in through a ranger that they were dealing with one household, and so they've got a lot of dogs there, and they said, look, you know, we need to surrender them, we can't look after all of them. And we said, yeah, look, okay, that's fine, we'll help you. So 8 dogs came in from one household and 3 came in from another. Now, out of those 8 dogs, they were Jack Russell Cross Foxies, and we do have them here. One of the dogs, when it came in, we noticed it was quite smaller than the others. She was missing a lot of fur off her face. She had patches on her bottom, and when we picked her up to have a look at her, a closer look, we noticed that she had 2 lumps around her groin area. And we thought, oh, she's a little girl, but she looks like she's got testicles up there, something's going on. Immediately we took her to the vets because we thought, no, is it mange? What's going on? It actually turned out to be puppy strangles. And if you've never heard of puppy strangles, that's actually where the dog's own immunity is attacking herself. So those lumps were actually swollen lymph nodes, which were it's quite painful. So she's under treatment now, and so we'll be sort of monitoring her closely. We can't vaccinate that little girl for a month while she's under treatment. Not ideal being in a pound environment that we can't protect her. So anyway, that's the situation. So the other 3 came in from a breeder, and it's really unusual that a breeder can't actually rehome Shih Tzu Cross Maltesers. But it turned out that each of those 3 puppies had a condition that probably prevented them from being adopted. And each of those, we have one that has an impacted canine on their palate, so we're going to have to do an extraction on the tooth. And they've all got hernias, so umbilical hernias that all have to be fixed. So unfortunately, we've got to get them sorted out. So 11 in one day, all beautiful little puppies, all needing something. So anyway, that's part and parcel of what we deal with. I just wanted to have a little talk about something that happened to me and Don recently. We'd gone up to the local supermarket just to get some breakfast, and we got back in the car, and this lady sort of came to our car and she said, excuse me, do you guys work down at the animal facility? And we said, yeah, we do. And she said, so she leans across and she said, I just want to shake your hand. So she shook my hand, and then she shook Don's hand, and she said, look, you know, I really just want to say thank you for everything you do. I follow you on the page. And I said, oh, thank you. That's really nice of you to say. And I suppose it's sort of really nice that, not recognition, but just that people are happy with what we're doing, because, you know, we like to think that we're doing a good job. And it's really nice that people appreciate that we are trying to help the animals. And recently we had one of our followers come down from Queensland to visit a relative, and they came to the facility to come and say hello to us. And we've spoken to Trish over the time. We got to know Trish from the farm, and it was so lovely to meet somebody that we connect with here and there. And we see Trish commenting on our posts and stuff like that. So it was just really, really nice to actually meet our followers, and just meeting people that just want to connect with us with what we do. It's such a nice feeling to know that we have great people supporting us and just following the journey that we're on. And it's really nice to actually put a face to somebody. So thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. One of the things that I was hoping to get off the ground is our Rescue Warriors. We have had it running for a little while, but I've not pushed it. And what it is, people often say to us, because we've got a sign outside that says, become a Rescue Warrior. And they say, what's that? We say, look, what we're hoping is to get some people that will donate on a regular basis, just a small amount, $5, less than a cup of coffee these days, just to help us. And things are getting really harder and harder to get the animals out. Every rescue's full. People are surrendering more so than adopting. So, RSPCA just had a big blitz where they were giving away animals for free. And they said it was because somebody had bequeathed a lot of money to help get those animals out. So we're hoping that what we can do, I want to set a target of 150 supporters, at $5 a week if we can. I've sort of sat down and done some figures and averaged with the amount of animals that are being unclaimed and surrendered or have medical issues. We've just seen so many animals come in with medical issues. And we're just a small rescue, and we're trying. Those animals need help. We are trying. We can't do it alone. We don't have grants coming in left, right and centre. We have none coming in, to be honest. So what we want to do is set up a Rescue Warrior thing, $5 a week. If we can get 150, that gives us about $3,249 a month on average. That will help us do the vet work for around 10 animals a month. And that might be the difference of saying to a rescue group, hey, can you help us please? We can get this animal vetted for you. We can get the animal up to you, because some of the freight transport is $185 to get them up. If we pay for that, will you please give this animal a chance? Will you get it out of the pound for us? We've got a dog out there that is so stressed. We've got a couple of stress heads out there actually. They're just declining in the kennel environment. We can't get any rescue to look at them. So we're hoping if we can entice them to say, hey, we'll do all the vet work for her. Can you help her out, please? So to do that, we've got to have some backing. And so we're going to kickstart the Rescue Warrior more than what it is. It has been going for a while. We've not pushed it, but now we're trying to do a little push. So if you are interested in becoming a Rescue Warrior and you want to know what it entails, Tani, if you can put a link up to the PayPal account on it, anything, $5 a week will help. If we can get enough people behind us with $5 a week, we can do a lot with it. Doesn't sound like a lot, but we can make it. We are so used to stretching that budget out. Don't you worry about that. It will go to good use. Thanks, guys.
Okay, Dee. So last week we did the happy and sad moments of the week.
We did.
We ended on a sad note. So
we're not doing that this time.
We're not going to do that this time. So, have you got a sad note for the week that sort of upset you?
I can honestly say I have not had a sad moment this week.
Well, hell, we could have done that behind them. We could have done the. Still
We
could have done it
ended
last.
We could have ended on a sad
and that still
note
would have been a
said,
happy.
Nothing.
Yeah, that's better than yeah.
I
Going
know,
first.
right?
Okay, never
Yeah.
mind. Okay, well, what about a happy note? You were
You think I'd be prepared for a happy note? I can think of.
well. Remember, you were mentioning a little pixie earlier.
Okay, yes. Okay, so recently we had a vet email us and say, look, they've got a very good client of theirs and he means a lot to them. And unfortunately they had to put down, I think his dog was 15 years old and they had to put his dog down. Now that dog kept him going when he lost his wife. So they were extremely worried about him. They didn't know how Noel was going to cope because, you know, he suddenly has got no one at home. So they put a call out and said, look, you know, we're looking for a smaller dog, not a puppy, but an older dog. Do you have anything suitable? Immediately I thought of a dog here called Pixie. She's 8 years old. She's a small Jack Russell. Now, Pixie has a little bit of separation anxiety. So, you know, she needed somebody that was going to be home all the time, that she could be a companion to. That's what she needed. She needed to be with somebody all the time. And I read that email and I said to Janine, contact him straight away. Now the vet and a vet nurse came down, I think, gosh, maybe within half an hour to meet Pixie. And they come and did a once over, so they checked her out, everything like that. She was in perfect health condition. They sat with her for a little bit of time and they said, you know what, we think she actually might be perfect for him. I said to them, well, why don't you take her with you and introduce them? And they said, do you mind if we do that, Dee? And I said, hell no, not at all. So anyway, she went out on the 17th. And anyway, they said to us, do you mind if he keeps her overnight? And we said, no, not at all. So the next day came on the 18th. Look, it's going well, but he's just asked whether or not he could have another night with her. I said, yep, not an issue at all. On the 19th came, and I got, won't be coming back. It worked out extremely well. Now Noel came down to the facility with the girls from the vet, did the paperwork. She hasn't had a vet work done. They're graciously going to do the vet work, and we'll be processing that adoption once she's desexed. But at the moment she's in the house. Now Noel tells me she's a beautiful little thing. Her favourite place is to be on his lap, and surprise, surprise, she's sleeping on the bed with him. So I think that it would have to be my happy moment.
Mm-hmm.
Just that, you know, there is a dog for every single person out there, and knowing that we've helped somebody with a broken heart, that's really made me very happy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And then lastly, have you got anything funny that has happened this week?
Well,
if you can see my face behind the camera, I'm not impressed, guys. This wasn't supposed to be going out to everybody.
I am going to say I did get told something that made me laugh out loud, nearly peed myself, and then I just couldn't help and said, I'm going to use that. And she said, don't you dare. And I'm like, well, I'm going to. So this week I said to Tani, I said, I'm looking at her and I said, what's going on with you? Your ear and your side of your face is really red. She said, well, I'm on medication for Doxy for when little Chad scratched her eye. They've put her on Doxy. The thing is, Tani's allergic to Doxy, but she has to suck it up. And she has to stay on
For 3 months, guys. 3 months. So one of the side effects, which I didn't know, is flakiness and rashes and itchiness of the skin. So it started off on the ears, it was fine. Then it went to the sideburns and the side of the head. And now it looks like I have shaving rash because it's all on my cheeks and under my chin. And I'm not happy. I'm not going to put up a photo. You can use your imagination.
So she
I'm not
said to
happy.
me, I'm not happy about having a beard. And that was the end of me. I was like laughing.
So yeah.
I'm like, she said, I'm going to start scratching like I've got a beard tea. I'm like laughing my head off. And I'm sorry, darling.
You are not sorry. You are still laughing.
I'm just like, okay. So that's
yeah.
my funny moment.
Yeah, I've still got to be on it for another 2 months, so you can laugh it up.
I can laugh because it's not happening to me.
Exactly. Okay.
And no sad moment. Did have a scary moment. So one of our foster dogs, we had a stray come in and he was quite skinny, and I tracked down the owner. He's not in a good place, the owner. He's definitely not in a good place, and he definitely cannot look after himself, yet alone a dog. So anyway, I tracked him down and we got him to surrender the dog. The great thing about it, the finder of the dog instantly fell in love with him when she found him. And so she actually rang the facility to say, you know, did you find the owner for that dog? You know, he's such a beautiful dog. If he doesn't get claimed, could I be considered? And I said, well, actually, I think he's about to be surrendered. So anyway, I tracked the guy down, got him surrendered, rang her up and said he's surrendered. They immediately came down to the facility, met with him, said, what do we have to do? And we said, well, you've got to go through the adoption process. You're going to have to, do you rent, do you own? They said, we rent. We said, all right, you need to get some rental permission. So they went and got the rental permission. The rental permission came back as fostering, and I said, oh, it says that you can foster, but you can't adopt. It doesn't say that you can adopt. And she said, oh, it shouldn't be an issue. However, the premises has just been sold. So the old owner had no problems with animals, and all the other tenants have got animals. So it shouldn't be a problem. But the property changes hand next week, and so we have to get permission again from the new owner. But we can foster. And I said, great. How about you foster him, and then we can go from there. So while he was being fostered, I said, okay, let's get him in and get his little nonads tucked off. We don't want any breeding. So we sent him off for desexing. The girls actually took him in, got him, dropped him off at the vets, picked him up in the afternoon. Everything was going good. I rang them, said, yep, yeah, he's in the car, he's sleepy, wrong thing. It was about 7, 8 o'clock at night. We think he's torn his stitches open. I said, okay, I'm at the facility. Bring him in. I need to have a look at it. Is it bleeding? She said, no, the bleeding stopped. I said, okay, first thing we need to do is get a cone on him. Now, usually the vets put a cone on them if they look like they're going to touch them. He showed no signs of that. So anyway, I got him to come in. Oh, sorry, I told them to come in and we'll get a cone. Things deteriorated a little bit, and the girls rang me and said, look, we're taking him straight to a vet. He's a bit lethargic. We're really worried. We're going to just take him straight to a vet. So anyway, I was frantic with worry and sent him a message later, any news, and they said, yep, just leaving the vets now. The stitches were intact, but he inflamed it by constantly licking it. So he does have to wear the cone of shame, and he's got some antibiotics just to settle the swelling down, because he was licking it, he's inflamed it, and there's a bit of swelling. So they thought he might have caused a little bit of a hematoma. So the big bullhead is now wearing a cone of shame for a week. So that's probably just my scary moment, but that's us. That's the week that was.
Woohoo! We'll see you next week.
See you next week.